welcome to Trend Flow Trading, and in this video I would just like to show the setup for how I view the market to get a better understanding of what's going on and how I'll be making my trading decisions based off of it. So in this video I just want to show you how I set up my chart before I make any trading decision or any analysis, the tools I'll be using to have an understanding of the market, right? So the first thing when you open your chart, you're going to look at something like this, right? It's going to be a completely clear chart, nothing going on, right? Just a bunch of candlesticks, right? So first things first, I would like to clear out all this noise and just make it a bit easier to read, because with trend trading it's all about simplicity, right? It's all about clearing out the market and getting to see a clear trend, right? You need to see what's really going on. So to smoothen out this, I will switch to a Heikin-Ashi candles, right? So as you can notice, it smoothed out the trend, right? So now we can clearly see when price made minor dips and when it moved upwards. So we're on the gold chart, and gold is usually very bullish and got those moments of hardcore dips, right? So the main thing I want to see is trends, right? Bullish, bearish. It just simplifies the candlestick charts, right? And it makes it easier to make trading decisions based off this information, right? So now that we're here, we can clearly see the candlestick trends when price made a specific change and when it was trending, right? We're going to take this a step further now in our next indicator, which basically filters out this trend a bit more, right? So what we're going to keep doing is simplifying this trend, right, to a point where we clearly know exactly which direction price is moving and which direction we want to enter trades, right? So the second indicator we're going to add on to our chart is the alligator, right? So now with the alligator, we notice it smoothens the chart even further and filters out false signals that we could have been given by our Heikin-Ashi candles, right? So in this instance, we notice we had a clear bullish Heikin-Ashi chart, right? And also the alligators were awake, right? They were facing upwards, telling us the price was bullish. That when price came down here at this point, the Heikin-Ashi was giving us sell signals. However, we wouldn't have taken them because our alligator was still bullish at this moment in time. So we knew this was probably just a pullback. There was no actual trend at this moment in time for us to enter on a sell, right? This was probably a dip, and that was later confirmed when price continued going back up. So we see that the alligator really did save us from entering a false trade there, as well as at these points here, alligators really did act as a good filter for us, right? And we notice that it just shows the trend much clearer and filters out some bad signals we could have got from our Heikin-Ashi charts, right? And it also does filter out consolidations. For instance, this point, we noticed that the alligator was asleep, right? So that was a very good filter. Then we notice trend up, down. So in this video, I'm not really going to go over how to use these indicators. It's mainly just how to set them up. So now we notice we've got our alligator filtering our signals from our Heikin-Ashi candle, right? So now the second indicator has been set on our chart. We now need a filter for our higher time frame buyers without needing to switch our time frames, right? Because with this, I don't want too much confusion. especially if you're at beginner level, this is just what you'll need to filter out some of your trades, right? To add more filters, right? Just to add an extra line of filtering, we're gonna add a moving average, right? The 200 moving average, right? This is the average price of 200 candles, and as long as price is above this moving average, it's considered a bullish market, right? So we only targeting bullish trades, right? And the alligator, we notice, is also above at this moment in time. So let me just show you an example where it could have filtered. For instance, here where it seems as if price was about to turn bearish, as we can notice, the alligator was also switching. There was no reason to enter a sell because it's still above our moving average, so that would have been filtered out perfectly and we wouldn't have been confused by that trade, right? There's another example, right? We had a strong sell chasing our moving average, which acted as a support. So not only does the 200 moving average act as a trend filter, but also a support level where we can later expect price to bounce off it and go up. As you can see, right, price can, the 200 moving average can actually act as support and resistance level for price, right? So it's also something very important to just keep an eye on, considering a lot of um, hedge funds and institutions actually use the 200 EMA to place their trades. So now we've got a filter for our trend. We have completely filtered trend as much as we need. We've got a very clear understanding of our long-term bias, our short-term bias, and our immediate trend direction, right? So our Heikinashi will tell us immediate trend, uh, 200 moving average, our long-term bias, and short-term bias will be from our alligators, right? Now we need to know during these moments in time of trend who is in control of the specific trend, right? So now we look for momentum, right? The shifts in momentum will tell us whether it's buyers or sellers in control of this market, right? And the easiest indicator to use and get to understand and work with would be our awesome oscillator. Yeah, it's pretty awesome to use because it's so simple. This indicator is divided into two parts. Let me just put it up. All right, so you've got your zero line. If the bars are below your zero line, it means you're now in bearish territory. You got a lot of bearish momentum, right? And if it's above the zero line, you've got bullish momentum. However, you'll still notice that during these times, right, you still got switches between your buyers, which are my blue bars, and your sellers, which are my yellow bars, right? You'll notice that these guys are always competing. So even though the overall momentum is bullish, which is above zero, you will still notice some sellers participating in the market, right? Trying to reverse that price. And that they're the ones that create pullbacks and minor dips in the market. So it's always good to monitor these guys and know when they shift. For instance, if you know you're completely bullish in trend direction like this, right? When you come down, what you're just waiting for is a shift for sellers to stop controlling the market and your buyers to step in, and you can join those buyers literally at a point like this right here and just ride the trend up. It's literally that simple, right? You literally just finding moments when the buyers stop participating and sellers take over, or sellers stop participating and buyers take over. It's makes understanding of the market much simpler once you understand your trend and who's participating in that trend and where they're trying to get price, right? And all this information is very useful when you combine it with your fundamentals or whatever other indicators you use to identify the market. And when I mean indicators, I don't mean these tools that I've set up, because I think just with these, it's already more than enough, right? Depending on your level of a trader, some of this will end up confusing you depending how you use it. But this is the basics I can recommend for anyone to start using and get a good understanding of the market. The last indicator we're going to add on to our chart is the fractal indicator, just to have a better understanding of the structure. When these buyers that we are looking at on the awesome oscillator uh, get into the market, are they breaking structure and creating new structure in the direction of the trend, or are they reversing structure, right? That's something very important to know and understand in the market also before making decisions. And the indicator I use for this is the fractal indicator, which looks for highs and lows in the market, right? So basically, these dots are your highs and lows. And for instance, the buyers that enter the market here eventually broke structure on the next candle, telling us that they actually were a good, uh, they made a good push in price. However, we noticed sellers came back into the market. So just using these tools, you know when your sellers are participating, you know when your buyers are participating, you know if they're breaking structure, if they have a bias, you basically know everything you need to know about the trend and which direction it's going, whether you should be trading or not. So basically, this is how you set it up. And in the next videos, I'll describe how to now actually use them in your favor to have a better understanding of the market. So please guys, like and subscribe to get the next video and more information on how to use this setup to your advantage. Thanks.